Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Kilger, managing editor of Feed and Grain and host of the Feed and Grain podcast. We have a special mini episode for you today. My guest, Laura Moody, is the executive director of the Institute for Feed Education and Research, also known as IFEEDER. So IFEEDER just announced this new sustainability toolkit for the feed industry at the International Production and Processing Expo happening here in Atlanta. And she had just a few minutes to stop by and chat with me about the new toolkit and what it'll mean for the industry. It's big news, and hopefully you can learn just a little bit more about it here. But before we start, I have just a little bit of housekeeping to do. If you're listening to this podcast within a podcast app, please consider subscribing and or leaving a review. If you have an idea for a topic you'd like me to cover in one of these podcasts, or someone in the animal feed, grain handling, or related industries you'd like me to talk to, let me know. The podcast page for this episode and all other episodes on feedandgrain.com has a button right under the title that you can click on, and it'll send me an email directly. I'd love to hear from you and hear your thoughts. But on to the conversation. Hey, Laura, how are you doing today?
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Hi. How's it been?
It's been good. Yeah. I mean, we're marching towards IPPE, which is going to be the greatest show it's been in a few years.
For those who aren't familiar with you, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and your role with IFEEDER?
Yeah, Steve. So thanks for having me on. My name is Laura Moody. I'm the executive director at the Institute for Feed Education and Research, which is IFEEDER. IFEEDER's mission is to advance the understanding and trust in a sustainable animal feed and pet food supply chain through research and education. So for my last almost 2 years now at IFEEDER, that's what we've been working on.
Last year when we talked, IFEEDER was starting to really focus on sustainability with the sustainability roadmap. How has that project been going?
Yeah, it's been a very busy year in the sustainability space for IFEEDERs. We have spent the last year working with 23 industry members from across the whole animal feed industry, and including folks that have not done anything in the sustainability space to folks who are big multinational publicly traded companies with teams in the sustainability space. And we've been working with them to gather insights into what the needs are of sustainability for the industry, but also what their customers' needs are. We've also been partnering with Context Network and the expertise that they bring to the table, as well as engaging with other industry members and, really importantly, downstream stakeholders to see what kind of needs are out there in the sustainability space so that we can develop some guidance and a roadmap to advance that. And that has led to our creation of the sustainability roadmap for IFEEDER, but importantly, a tool and a resource called the Animal Food Industry Sustainability Toolkit that we're launching for industry members this week.
So what is the Animal Food Industry Sustainability Toolkit? How does it work?
Yeah, the toolkit is designed to provide an on-ramp for companies that are seeking to solidify their own sustainability journeys within their corporate culture and decision-making. And the toolkit is intended to be useful for folks who are really early on in their sustainability journeys to folks who maybe have a little bit more time under their belt, and there's probably going to be some idea or resource in there that's of value to them. And so we gathered information through survey work, through interviews to really understand what the needs were for the industry. And we've kind of built out a 9-step process. We actually call it our crawl, walk, run. So depending on where you are on the sustainability journey, you're just getting started, then that crawl space is going to be really helpful to you. And so we've created some practical tools and resources that the industry can use, such as how do you conduct a materiality assessment, or how do you build the business case for your organization in the sustainability space? Or if you're further down the chain, some insights into message mapping, because it's really important to understand how to convey your sustainability story to your downstream stakeholders. So that toolkit's going to be a collective that's going to be available on the IFEEDER website for AFI members to download. And if you're not an AFI member, there'll also be a way that you can obtain that.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Animal Agriculture Sustainability Summit that's happening at IPPE this year?
Each year, a group of organizations, basically North American Meat Institute, IFEEDER, and the U.S. Roundtable for Sustainable Poultry and Egg, get together and host the Animal Ag Sustainability Summit. And so that summit brings together insights from our own organizations on what we're doing in the sustainability space, gives us a chance to convene and provide updates and gather input from industry members. But we also try to bring in somebody who can really add to that conversation. And this year, we've got Undersecretary of Farm Production and Conservation from USDA, Mr. Robert Bonney, coming in to speak to us. He's going to speak to the Climate Smart Ag Commodity Grants that USDA announced this year. And really specifically, he's going to provide us some insights into the benefits that animal agriculture could potentially realize from some of those projects as they get underway. So that's going to be, I think, a really interesting conversation and a great place for us to build some of the updates that our own organizations are doing to show what we're doing to advance sustainability for animal agriculture.
And how can watchers get involved with IFEEDER if they're not already?
If you're not already, one, you can always go to ifeeder.org. There's a place to donate if you're interested in contributing to our efforts. If you're interested in learning more about the toolkit, there's a sustainability page on ifeeder.org. And of course, we're at the show this week, so come by the AFIA and IFEEDER booth, and we'd be glad to talk to you about the toolkit and other efforts that IFEEDER has underway.
Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I'm looking forward to seeing you at IPPE this year. That'll be fun.
Fantastic.
And thank all of you for listening. Till next time, stay safe out there.